So my last video, we talked about Mookie Betts being traded to the Dodgers. Huge deal. David Price, Alex Verdugo, Brusdar Graterol, Kenta Maeda. There was a lot of different pieces in this trade, but not so fast. Fast forward almost 48 hours later, and Mookie Betts and David Price are still not on the Dodgers. This trade is not yet official. There is some stuff that has come up in the medical, so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about Max Muncy getting a new contract, James Paxton getting hurt, finally talk about the Joc Pederson trade, because I know a lot of you wanted me to talk about in the last video. So I'll go over the Joc Pederson trade in detail. Wilmer Flores signed with the Giants. The Mets might not be getting a new owner, which is just so devastating to me. I can't make a full video on it because I'll probably get banned from Citi Field, but I'll give you a quick little soundbite on how I feel. The two greatest players in baseball, Greg Bird and Todd Frazier, have teamed up with the Texas Rangers for the next season. There's a lot of minor things and a lot of big things to cover in today's video. So as always, if you guys do enjoy it, make sure to leave a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Remember, get in the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts and opinions on all the moves happening. Do you think that the Mookie trade falls through, or do you think this is just a minor blip? Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in description. And I want to give a quick shout out to Elgato. Check this out. I got a green screen now. I also got like some cool mounts and some cool lights. I'm eventually going to use these. I just got to learn how to first. But big shout out to Elgato for sending me that. They obviously didn't have to, but I'm going to find a way to use this stuff. It's going to be awesome. So let's finally talk about what you guys came here for. What I brought you in with the title, the Mookie Betts trade. Is it canceled? Is it over? Has it hit some trouble? Well, I don't think it's canceled, and I don't think it's not going to happen, but there's definitely a bump in the road right now. And I saw someone on Twitter make a really good analogy that I'm going to steal for today's video, although I'll put your tweet on the screen, probably right here. He's basically saying something along the lines of, you're skateboarding down a hill, there's a pebble on the road. You could hit the pebble, it could cause a big problem, but chances are you're just gonna miss it and you're gonna be fine. I think that's the best way to describe the Mookie Betts trade scenario right now. I think him and David Price are heading to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't really see a scenario where this trade falls through because of what's going on with the physicals for Alex Verdugo and Brusdar Graterol, and more specifically Brusdar Graterol. Verdugo has some back problems, but the Red Sox seem to be kind of okay with that. The issue that they're currently having is what's going on with Brusdar Graterol and his injuries. Right now, based on his medical reports, it seems that Brusdar Graterol, at least to the Red Sox, is projecting more as a reliever than he is as a starter right now. And of course, when they traded for him, or when they initially got him, they were assuming that he was going to be a starter for the future for them, where right now it might be in jeopardy, which is a little bit scary in both parts. One, scary for the Red Sox because if you're trading a franchise, a generational type talent in Mookie Betts, you need to make sure that you're getting stuff back. And while people think Verdugo and Graterol isn't the best haul possible, which I agree, you could have gotten more, they are two big names, they are two big prospects. You want to make sure that you have them healthy. If Brusdar Graterol is not healthy, this trade looks 10 times worse than it already does. The Red Sox got fleeced even worse. So the idea that Brusdar Graterol's medical reports came back a little bit sketchy and projecting him more as a reliever than a starter right now is definitely concerning if you're a Red Sox fan, and if you are the Boston Red Sox, you want him at his best. You don't want damaged goods. So what does this mean for the trade? Well, it doesn't mean that it's over, but it does mean that the Red Sox are probably going to be getting a little bit more back here. Now, don't expect a name like Dustin May or Gavin Lux or Alex Kirilloff. Don't expect any huge names to be added into this deal. I would be completely shocked if that happens. But what you might expect to happen is maybe a little bit more cash gets taken back from the Red Sox. Maybe they don't pay as much of David Price's contract, or you see the Twins give the Red Sox some cash, maybe a minor prospect, no one in like that top 100 range. But overall, Dodgers fans, you should not be worried. This trade is not being canceled. It is not really in that big trouble right now, at least from what it looks like on the outside looking in. It's gonna go through, it's gonna happen. It's just taking a little bit longer, which can definitely be concerning, but you're the Dodgers, you're not the New York Mets. If this was the New York Mets, this would be a problem, because anytime there's a minor blip, it's not just a minor blip, it becomes a major blip, which leads me into the next segue here about the New York Mets ownership. Yeah, so remember when the New York Mets were supposed to be getting a new owner, Steve Cohen, the richest owner in baseball? Well, at least he would be when he actually became owner of the Mets. He was going to be waiting a 5-year period before he fully took over the team and got the 80% from the Wilpons. Well, there was a minor blip, and guess what that minor blip turned into? A major blip. It doesn't look like Steve Cohen is going to be buying the Mets anymore. Doesn't look like he's going to become the majority owner anytime soon. There was apparently a disagreement between him and the Wilpons. Well, I should say Jeff Wilpon, not Fred. Fred's trying to sell this team. The Cats are trying to sell the team. Jeff does not want to sell the team. Jeff, you're the disappointing son. Why you gotta do this to me, Jeff? Why do you gotta do this to me? We were almost rid of the Wilpons. So close. But as the saying goes, it was too good to be true. The Mets were finally getting their money. They were like literally getting the guy who the show Billions was based off of. Billions with a B. The dude prints money. Now, does he do it a little sketchy? Yeah, sometimes. But he prints money, and he's a Mets fan, and he wanted to spend money on the team, something that all of us Mets fans have been crying about for the last 20 years, ever since the Wilpons took over, and specifically for the last about 10, 12 years since they got screwed with the Madoff scandal, even though they technically made money from it. It's a long story. I'm not going to make a full video on this because I honestly would probably end up getting banned from Citi Field because I just have nothing good to say about this. I have a lot of bad things to say, if anything, but at the end of the day, here's what it comes down to. I wanted Steve Cohen as the new owner of the New York Mets. Doesn't look like he's going to be the new owner of the New York Mets. Doesn't look like he's going to take over the majority stake anytime soon. Right now, it looks like we're going to be stuck with the Wilpons for the foreseeable future. The Wilpons screwed us over again. This is unfortunate. The Met fans deserve better. I deserve better. You deserve better. Major League Baseball deserves better. There is no doubt that when the New York markets are thriving, sports tend to be at their best. Right now, the Yankees are great. The Mets have a good team, but the Mets are still the laughingstock. And a way to fix that would have been to have Steve Cohen step in, get rid of the Wilpon name, but no. The Mets, well, they did what the Mets do best, and that is screw things up. So, yeah, it looks like Steve Cohen's on his way out. He's not going to be taking over, and we are stuck with the Wilpons again. All right, enough about the Mets. This is about Mookie. This is about Joc Pederson. So let's talk about the Joc Pederson trade. Kind of went a little bit under the radar because obviously the big news a couple nights ago was Mookie Betts being traded. The Dodgers ended up sending Joc Pederson, Ross Stripling from the Major League team, and prospect Andy Pages to the Los Angeles Angels in exchange for Luis Rengifo and a prospect to be named later, although it's not supposed to be anybody bit. So this is actually kind of a really interesting trade from both sides here. The Dodgers are clearly trying to get rid of some salary here, trading Joc Pederson, who's going to make anywhere from about $7 to $10 million this year, still waiting on the arbitration hearing, which is what's slowing down the trade a little bit. Ross Stripling was due to make about $2.1 million this year, so you get rid of that money, you bring in Luis Rengifo, who's a young middle infielder, can play pretty much anywhere except first base. I'll briefly talk about him because obviously it's a little more in-depth for what the Angels got than what the Dodgers got back. Let me tell you right now, it wouldn't surprise me if the Dodgers turn this guy into the next like Chris Taylor, Justin Turner, Kike Hernandez. This is what they do. They take players who are underperforming on a different team, they bring them into their organization, and they just turn them into good players. I mean, Chris Taylor was nobody before he was on the Dodgers. He was a bad player for the Mariners. Justin Turner was on the Mets because, of course, why wasn't he? He was not good with the Mets. It's very simple. He was not a good player. Look at his numbers. His numbers were below average. Max Muncy, Kike Hernandez. The list goes on and on for the players that the Dodgers have brought in who really weren't much before then, and then they've turned him into a great player. And I'm not saying Luis Rengifo has been bad, but in the brief amount of time that we have seen him at the major league level, he really hasn't produced at a high level. So it's safe to say that, like, you're not expecting this guy to be an all-star anytime soon, but he is still very young. You can change a lot of what's going on with this game. Don't be surprised if the Dodgers turn this guy into the next big thing. I shouldn't say next big thing, but if they turn him into the next Chris Taylor, that's just what they do. They churn out these like mediocre to below average players and make them into really good pieces. For the Angels, I like this trade a lot. You're getting Ross Stripling, which addresses a starting pitching problem. Now, yes, Ross Stripling is not a top starting pitcher in the game by any means, but over his 4-year career with the Dodgers, he has a 3.5 ERA, a whip hovering right around 1.2 at 1.196, and while his numbers were better as a reliever, as a starter, they weren't bad. He had a 3.7 ERA in 200 plus innings with a whip at 1.2. Like, those are really nice numbers, especially for a team like the Los Angeles Angels who have no starting pitching. I mean, you're going out there with Julio Teheran, Andrew Heaney, Dylan Bundy. Like, a lot of these guys have either underperformed in their career or they're just straight up not number one pitchers. Not saying Ross Stripling is their ace, but this adds at least another arm to their rotation that is capable. I like the addition of Ross Stripling. I like the addition of Joc Pederson. For the Angels themselves, it's a really nice pickup. Pederson is another left-handed bat that they can add to that lineup, which can sometimes be a little right-handed heavy. I mean, you got Andrelton Simmons, Anthony Rendon, Mike Trout, Justin Upton, Albert Pujols, David Fletcher. Now you add Joc Pederson, who almost takes over that role for Cole Calhoun that you lost. Pretty decent outfielder, walks, hits a lot of home runs. It gives a nice balance to the order, and when you go 1 through 9 right now, they have a really improved team. Just going around the outfield, you've got Joc, you've got Trout, you've got Justin Upton, maybe Joe Adele, you got Shohei Ohtani, who's going to DH, you got Brian Goodwin, who actually had a pretty solid year last year. That's a solid outfield. On the infield, you got Rendon, Simmons, David Fletcher, Albert Pujols. Go figure, Pujols probably being the weakest of all those players. Behind the dish, they added Jason Castro, which I think is a super underrated pickup, as I mentioned in my video a couple days ago. The pitching staff in the bullpen still needs improvement, but right now at the plate, the Angels are throwing out a much improved lineup that we've seen in years past. Finally getting some pieces around Mike Trout. Like, geez, you're giving the guy like $400 million. Get some stars around him. Albert Pujols doesn't count as a star anymore. The dude's washed. But overall for this trade, I think the Angels ended up being winners here, and this Andy Pages guy actually was pretty decent last year in the minors as well. Let's see what happens. The Angels farm system not too strong. Maybe this guy rises all the way up. Some more Dodger news, which they're taking over the news day today. Max Muncy signed a contract extension with them, 3 years, $26 million. The way the contract breaks down is actually pretty interesting. He's only getting paid $1 million for this upcoming season in 2020. It then goes up to $7.5 million in 2021 and $11 million in 2022. 2022 with a club option for 2023 worth $13 million and a $1.5 million buyout. First off, dirt cheap for Max Muncy. This is a guy who's probably a top 5 first baseman in Major League Baseball. Honestly, probably like a top 5 second baseman as well. He's a really good player, hits home runs, gets on base, plays pretty solid defense in the field. He's an all-around really good player, and again, go figure, this was a guy who was on the out and out. The Oakland A's cut him. They didn't want him. Dodgers picked him up. He's an all-star. That's how it works. Dodgers, congrats on an absolute steal. That is a fantastic contract that you somehow swindled. And then the final move I want to talk about, because it's close to my heart, Wilmer Flores has signed a multi-year deal with the San Francisco Giants. As a New York Mets fan, he's a cult hero. The dude cried on the field. We'll never forget that. He'll always be one of my favorites. And I'm glad to see that he signed to a multi-year deal. He's actually going to have some security now, because when this guy is healthy, he can hit the baseball. He's a really solid player offensively. Now, on the defensive side, he's not great. He's a man without a position. Best way I can describe it is he moves like a third baseman, but doesn't have the arm of a third baseman, but has a better arm than a normal second baseman, but doesn't have the agility of a second baseman. It's tough to explain, but at the plate, he definitely hits. Especially against left-handed pitching, he absolutely eats. And of course, the Giants are going to be playing the Dodgers, who now have like 4 left-handed starting pitchers in their rotation. Wilmer Flores is going to eat out there. I think it's a great signing for the San Francisco Giants. Maybe I'm a little biased because I like Wilmer Flores, but I'm happy for the guy. It's unfortunate he has to go to the Giants because, as we know, the Giants are liars and they can't be trusted. So stupid for not trading Madison Bumgarner and everybody else last year when they had the chance. So I think I pretty much covered everything that's been going on in Major League Baseball. I got so many video ideas on this whiteboard over here. I'd show you to them, but you know, they're top secret information. So we have some bangers coming at you for the next couple days. I'd love to know what you think about all the moves that we talked about down in the comment section below. Do you think the Mookie trade goes through, or do you think it ends up falling apart? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the content. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. I'm always talking baseball over there. And I'm going to wrap up today's video there. You guys know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I do appreciate you, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.